Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a licensed therapist and a virtual coach. Before I get into today's video, please like and make sure that you're subscribing so that you can catch all the videos that are coming your way. So today I wanted to do something super fun and share with you 8 things that I have learned or some takeaways from 8 years of marriage, because I celebrated 8 years of marriage this week. We had our anniversary. It was actually yesterday. And I just love reflecting on each year. I feel like anniversaries are such a good benchmark for you just to pause and reflect and celebrate the wins and talk about things that were hard and things that you're really proud of, and think about like how much you have grown both like individually and then together as a couple. So all of that, I just wanted to share some of those 8 takeaways with you. The first one I want to share is that, and keep in mind, there's no specific order of importance with any of these things, but the first one I want to share is how important it is to have fun in your marriage. Like when you're dating, all you want to do is spend time together and experience new things and get to know each other, and that definitely shouldn't stop when you get married. I would say, especially now that we are parents, we really value prioritizing and spending that time together because, you know, when you have a kid, there's a lot of interruptions, and so it's so nice to just try and focus on that quality time together outside of our son. Obviously, we want to have fun together as a family, but having fun as a couple just helps you have more experiences to draw on, creates new memories, things for you to laugh about, talk about. All of that is just so important. I know that for some it's not always feasible, but we are so grateful and blessed that we have family near us. And so ever since my son was born, we have taken one date night every single month. And sometimes it's just like a couple of hours. Sometimes it's like we're going to an event. Sometimes it's really casual. We just go to a new coffee shop and maybe like play games, or we ask each other different connection questions. Like, it doesn't always have to be super elaborate, but we just really want to prioritize that time together. And as I've looked over the last 8 years, those memories, those fun things that we've done together has really like bonded us, and it really is like a good buffer when life hits and it's hard and you're faced with challenges, or maybe you're arguing a little bit more in one season. Having those fun times just like eases the tension. It's really good for your brain to be able to draw on like these positive experiences. So it's so good for our marriage, and I definitely recommend that. I also want to highlight that in every season it's going to be different. I think it was 2022, we had moved into our first house, and we had to do a lot of renovations on this house. It was a total gut job. And so because of that, we had a lot of renovation debt that we wanted to pay off. And so that next year, we really didn't go on many dates, if at all. Like, we really hunkered down and just put all of our extra income into paying off that debt. And I mean, it paid off, no pun intended, because we got it all paid off in 8 months, when it should have taken like a year or something. So like, that's really great. But then after that, we were like starting for fun connection. And so in 2023, we did it through the alphabet, which is so fun. It just like really makes you like get outside of the box, out of your comfort zone, do more creative things. And so once every single month, which is so convenient, or twice a month. Yeah, it was twice a month. We did one letter from the alphabet, and we didn't go in order just to like make it less stressful on us. We just like whatever felt right, or with the season, or whatever the case is. But I highlighted all of those things and like documented on Instagram. If you like want to scroll back, you can see all those ideas. So that was fun. We like broke out of our comfort zone and did new things. So that's just a creative idea for you as well. Okay, number 2, so important, is taking ownership. We have learned and realized really quickly that will break the cycle of conflict. For example, if I make a rude comment or something that's snarky, the faster that I own up to it and say something, the easier there is to like communicate, and like tension doesn't even build up. Like, we get it figured out, solved. He's not bothered, I'm not bothered, and we can just like move on quickly. Versus the alternative of like waiting for him to call me out, or being bothered and not saying anything, or maybe he gets defensive. Like, it just takes away and removes that from being part of the equation. Essentially, for both of us, the faster that we catch ourselves, the less likely that we're going to be trapped in some kind of argument. And nobody likes to argue. So it overall just creates a better, peaceful environment for our relationship. And the same would be said for you as well, to apply that to your marriage. Okay, number 3 is, for us personally, keeping God at the center of our marriage has really, really helped us keep the main thing, help us prioritize and focus on what really matters. going to church together, praying together, worshiping next to each other. It like really humbles our hearts, and I feel like takes things to a deeper personal level of like how we want to be more like Jesus. And so then we are naturally pushing to love each other in that way. And so that's one of the biggest things that we just always kind of like go back to as like our anchor, especially when we've gone through some really challenging times, for us to be able to, like I said, pray together and just really seek the Lord on like what we're supposed to do as a couple, or as we're navigating loss or grief or transitions or things like that. It's also helped with how we communicate. One of the verses that as I was a kid, my dad always had us memorize was Proverbs 15:1. It says that a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And so that has been something that plays in our minds as we communicate to one another. Like, we don't want to stir up anger. We want to diffuse conflict. And so with our kind words, soft words doesn't have to literally mean like whispering, but just like kind words toward one another. All of those things really kind of help push us to be the people that we want to be for each other and for our marriage and for our family now that we have a son. And so that's just kind of one of the things that, if I'm telling you my takeaways, that is one of my biggest takeaways. Okay, number 4 is we are on the same team. That is something that we really prioritize keeping as like our main mentality. We remind each other that. I remind myself that internally, like if I'm feeling frustrated or feeling like against him, because life comes at you, right? When you're a parent as well, especially in that like postpartum early newborn stage, like it's just so challenging. And to remember like, okay, we're on the same team. If our son is like screaming his head off and we don't really know what he needs because he can't communicate to us, it helps, instead of feeling like, oh, I know what to do better, or like your idea is wrong, or like just getting frustrated because of these external situations. It helps us to remember like, okay, we're on the same team. Our common shared goal is to take care of our son, to make sure that he's okay, to make sure that he has all of his needs met. And so that helps us to hear each other's ideas in a positive way, to not feel frustrated or defensive about what the other person might be saying, and overall just reduces conflict and helps us to feel like we're linking arms with each other versus at odds with each other. Helped us when we had to pay off lots of debt, like I mentioned earlier, just like keep that same vision of a really strict budget, because we were on the same team with a same shared goal. Even with housework, like we obviously have some things that are very like, you always do this and I always do this kind of a thing. But then there's also just like general house chores like dishes or laundry or sweeping the floor, mopping the floor, taking care of our son in different ways that we are just really careful to see the need and take care of it, versus waiting for someone else to do it, because there's only 2 of us. And so if I'm not doing it, that means he's doing it, or it just gets delayed and delayed and delayed. And so we just really try and remember like we're on the same team. So everything we do is a shared effort. We're doing everything together. Okay, number 5, and this definitely goes hand in hand with number 4, but this is to give each other the benefit of the doubt. The more often that we have done this and we have clarified before assuming, if we feel like the other person's intentions are bad, or if we feel frustrated about something, it has really, really, really taken something that could have been an argument and totally diffused it and totally made it a non-issue. For example, if I see coffee grinds on the counter, I could get super upset and super annoyed immediately, because like, wow, he can't clean up after himself, or like, what a slob, or now I have to do it, or he's just so careless. Like, there's so many different ways that your brain can take one situation and make it mean something so big so quickly, and then they're the enemy and it's just like this whole derailed thing. Versus, okay, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Well, he probably had a meeting and maybe he was running a little bit late, so he had to hurry off and go, and you know, he's probably going to come back and clean this up because he normally does. Or sometimes he'll just text me, hey, the kitchen's a mess, I'm going to come back and clean it. Right? But if I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt internally, my narrative and how I see him is going to already be more positive and not feel frustrated towards him. Also make it really easy for me just to be like, okay, this is annoying, I'm gonna roll my eyes at it, but I can just clean it up. It takes me all 15 seconds and I move on with my life, and I'm helping him, I'm serving him, and I don't have to make it mean so much or make me upset or angry at him. Obviously, if there's like a perpetual thing happening, it does need to be addressed, but overall, giving each other the benefit of the doubt has served us so much in our marriage, and I always encourage couples to implement that into their life as well. Our perception for each other isn't that we feel like the other person is out to get us. It's the opposite, that we know we are for each other. We think about and make decisions with each other in mind. When we're planning our calendar and our days throughout the month, we are communicating about what's going on and making sure that we're making each other a priority and putting each other as first as we can. It's not like in a self-sabotaging kind of way, but we are just doing everything together as a team and giving each other the benefit of the doubt as we do it. So 4 and 5 definitely go hand in hand. Okay, number 6, and this is a pretty big one, we do not keep secrets. And I'm not talking about like a birthday surprise. I think that is a totally different scenario. I'm talking about a secret, not a surprise. But other than that, we have no hidden agendas, especially in our finances, which is like one of the top reasons that couples argue or get divorced or things like that. Like money matters so much. We have a shared account and shared access to all of our income streams, every piece of money. And obviously this could be like a whole can of worms talking about finances, so I won't get too much into the weeds on it, but yeah, everything is shared. Philip, my husband, is in charge of like paying our bills and kind of like keeping track of the finances in some of that way, but we also do things together because we have a shared app that we put things in, and so we are always aware of the spending habits that are happening. What's funny is that even if I'm trying to have like a surprise, it didn't even go as planned. So last week, I mentioned how our anniversary was this week. And so last week I went to the store and I was getting a couple things for him as just a gift because I knew that we wouldn't really get to celebrate the way that we normally would this year because he has like a work retreat. And so I wanted to get him a card, and then I wanted to get him these new special protein bars because currently he's like in a cut and just trying to work on himself physically in that way. And so we were talking about it the other day. I thought he would like it, and so I got these protein bars. They're the David protein bars. I don't know if you ever had them. They're brand new to us. I saw them at the store. They have like double the amount of protein than other protein bars. They're also way more expensive, but anyways, I was like, ooh, I'm not going to use the Walmart app to pay. I'm just going to use the card so that he doesn't see it on the app for some reason. You guys, tell me why after I gave it to him yesterday, because our anniversary was yesterday, he goes later, he was like, yeah, I saw you got those last week, and you even got my birthday card in advance. And I was like, what? So apparently I didn't even know this, but the card is linked to the app. So even if you don't use the app, it still shows the purchases, which is like helpful if you have to make a return or whatever. But I was like, come on. Like I couldn't even effectively surprise my husband with a card and his protein bars. And yes, I did grab him a birthday card, even though his birthday is not until July. Not the point. But all that to say, like everything is shared. There are no secrets. I know that people make jokes all the time on social media about like, I don't know how my wife's making all of these Amazon purchases and they just like show up at the door and they just like pile up. That is like not the case for our marriage because again, every purchase you can see, you pull up the app. And so anyways, not to make this a finance thing, but everything is shared. And you know, even if we're going to like have a conversation with someone, usually we try to make it a group text or we update on each other on like different things that we find out from people, whatever the case is. All this, keeping it out on the open, whether it's finance related or conversation related, or when we're going to hang out with someone who's going to be there, like whatever the case is, really builds trust and this like openness with each other that really is foundational. Because if trust is broken, like it takes a lot to, like that bleeds into everything, right? And so we have a really, really solid foundation of trust. Like I 100% trust him, and I would think that he would say the same thing about me. And so we would never want to do anything to jeopardize that. And so there are no secrets for us. Even like phone passwords and stuff, all of it, no secrets. Number 7 is to be flexible and willing to pivot and grow. Honestly, each season of marriage is going to require some kind of flexibility, but keeping focused on what we and our family value and prioritize really helps. I think that when we were talking yesterday, just reflecting on our anniversary, we were thinking about how there was a season when he worked 2 jobs, one his regular 9 to 5 and then an overnight job because we were saving for our house. And at this time we were living with my parents. We thought it was just going to be like a really quick temporary thing. And it literally ended up being 9 months long because the housing market was so bad. And he was in school online getting his master's, and I was in school online. I was working part-time doing my practicum for counseling actually. It was just like the most chaotic time of our marriage, probably outside of like having a kid. We like really didn't see each other that much. It was super chaotic. We were living in my old bedroom that I grew up in, and it just had a twin bed. So I slept in the bed and Philip slept on the floor or the couch. Like it just, again, we never really thought that we were going to be there that long. And so it just was like, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal kind of a thing. So all that to say, we just had to embrace being flexible. We had to embrace being willing to grow and live in this uncomfortable situation. We've had to do that, during different mental health struggles that we've both faced. If we've had loss from family members, when trip things haven't gone our way, or we, our flight gets delayed or we miss a flight, especially with a kid, there's no such thing as like being rigid usually. Like you just have to be flexible. And if you're not, then you're grumpier. And so I think that has been one of the biggest takeaways that I would say and encourage for other couples too, is like, be flexible, be willing to grow and pivot, be able to hear when your spouse is saying that there's an area that you could work and improve on, or they see something that they need more in their relationship. Like it doesn't have to be that you're hearing it as an attack. If you're willing to be flexible and grow, it can just be like okay, I'll work on that. We always do a end of year review as well, and then quarterly we check in with each other on the things that we value in our life, in our marriage, and in our relationship. And that also just like weaves in naturally ways that we can be growing both individually and together. And I have a resource in the caption for that as well, the Ultimate Couples Check-In Guide. If that's something that you want to implement, I think all marriages should implement this on a regular basis. So that will be in the description for you. And number 8 is to play to each other's strengths and also your preferences. So that could be really simple things, like he prefers to cook, and that's not really my favorite thing. So in our marriage, he does most of the cooking, but I plan our meals, I get groceries, like all those kind of things. And it works super well for us. Before we had my son, I would help him and we would meal prep together, but now that has shifted, it doesn't always work out with just our schedule and things like that. And so a lot of the times he takes the lead on that, and it works great for us. And then because naturally I'm better at planning, I keep our family calendar. I could tell you all of when my son would have a dentist appointment or a doctor appointment, when our doctor's appointments are, just anything that we have with family events, birthday parties, whatever. Like I've got it all planned and scheduled, and that's just my nature, and it's okay, and it works for me. And so leaning into each other's strengths just makes life easier, and it helps reduce conflict or feeling like you're kind of like building resentment if you feel frustrated if one of you is working more in this area than the other area. I don't really feel like we experience that because we really hone in on like, what are we good at, what do we enjoy, and then doing those things. A couple other examples for you. I recently learned the term hybrid mom, and I love it because that's 100% me. Hybrid meaning I have a career, I have a business, I work, but I also get to stay home part-time with my son. And I get to create my hours since I'm a business owner. I'm like so grateful and blessed because I'm like literally living my dream. And because of that, like my husband is the one that works the consistent job, and that allows us to have the lifestyle that we have where I can do this hybrid mom thing. But again, playing to each other's strengths and working together as a team. A couple other examples for you is he does all the yard work and he enjoys it. He loves being able to research grass types and figure out what weed killer we might need, or all the things. He absolutely loves it. I don't. So if we have a big project, I will definitely be out there to help him. And we are huge DIY project people, both to save money and because it's mostly to save money. But also because like you can do so many things with your hands if you are willing to get scrappy and learn, watch YouTube videos, whatever. And so we've had many outside projects. Like we did our entire flower bed, even with like the bricks on the edging. When I was like 7 months pregnant, this is insane, but when I was 7 months pregnant, we even redid our entire lawn, like the front lawn of grass, because we had gotten some crazy fungus disease. I don't even know. I think because we had too much rain and it just like ruined everything. And in the storm, that's what it was. And we had a storm, and our tree in our front yard fell over. It was like a huge tree taller than our house. And so we cut that down. We paid for people to cut that down, but then we just really needed to redo our yard. And so we literally did the entire processing of grassing our lawn. That's not the right term. I can't remember the term. But like we got rid of all of the grass, got it to the dirt, resodded it, put down all of the grass. I mean, it was crazy. But we do all of those projects together. And so all that to say, we play to each other's strengths, but then there's obviously some things that, you know, some people don't love. Like, we both don't love laundry, but there's things that you still have to do anyways. And so some of them we split those tasks or whatever. But anyways, playing to each other's strengths is really helpful for having a functional life and marriage and making things easier and making you both happier. So one other thing I wanted to share with you is I have a resource. It's called the Anniversary Reflection Guide to really help you focus on like the love and legacy of your life and your marriage. It's so great to do this once a year on your anniversary. I think it's so special to reflect, like I said, to celebrate wins, plan and dream and all those wonderful things. And so I also have that resource for you in the description below. I hope this was fun, a little bit more personal, some really good takeaways though for you in your marriage and things that will help you to have a healthy, strong foundation year after year as you grow in your relationship. Thanks so much for being here and for watching. Like this video, subscribe, and I will see you next time.